Hi guys, Mindstone here, and today I will be showing you how to build some decks again, this time featuring Mage. So we're going to be throwing together, well, two Mage decks. This time not three because Mage is a bit less versatile as a class, and they're not quite as easy to mess around with as Paladin. At least not with the cards I do have. At first, we're going to build a mid-range Mage. So, yeah, this is much like the mid-range Paladin that you can play either aggressive or defensive, but it's a bit more focused on taking the board instead of healing and stuff. But as Mage, you have a lot of spells in your deck, and of course you have to choose the right ones, but they very much are important for your doing well as Mage, because they're quite powerful. Well, you have some minions that synergize with the spells. Example here, the Man of Arm, which is a very, very strong card, and we're definitely going to have two of those in the deck. Then, as always, we're building it up as a curve, so first turn 1. Then we're going to go to turn 2. There's nothing else. The Man of Arm on 1 I really want, because the other 1-drops are quite bad for Mage. On turn 2, we're going to be looking at stuff, and we're going to be saying, I like Sorcery Apprentice because it boosts my spells so that they cost less. So that's very nice. Then we're just gonna look through the minions and just look if there's anything attractive. It doesn't look that way initially. It really doesn't look that way, honestly. So we're just gonna grab 2 Frostbolts, because they can be played against the enemy 2-drop, or they can be used later as a versatile removal spell. So that's very good. I don't think there's anything else initially. We might go back to turn 2 because we 4 2-drops is not a lot. So I could imagine getting a bit more from here, but right now there's nothing. Then looking at turn 3, we're going to be going with twice Kintorn Mage. And to accompany that, we'll go with the Secrets, Mirror Entity, Counterspell, and Effigy. Those are just the best secrets. Mainly because you don't want Ice Barrier, it's very bad. Yeah, you get 8 armor, but it's still fairly weak. It doesn't do anything to get you in control of the board. And Ice Block is just a emergency save that you honestly don't ever want to be using. Spellbender is like Counterspell in a worse version, so you don't want that either. And that's pretty much the secret. You've got Vaporize as well, but that's just bad. So yeah. Then looking at the minions that we also want on turn 3. I'm quite fond of Brand Bronzebeard, so we're just going to pick that up. You guys will see why later, because right now we don't have any battle cries. But except for that, the turn 3 doesn't look insanely amazing. It might just be so that we're going to grab a single Twilight Flamecaller, maybe 2, we'll look to that later, but that will just mean that we can clear some more aggressive decks, just playing a lot of cards. Then on turn 4, we're first going to look at the minions. Like Water Elementals, they're very powerful, very, very strong, so we're definitely going to grab 2 of those. Then looking at the rest of the stuff here, it's quite unappealing, to be honest. I honestly don't want any of it, so I'm just going to go back. We're going to pick up 2 Fireballs, because they're just good versatile removal or burst, whatever you need, and I like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much for turn 4. On turn 5, we're going to pick up the Ethereal Conjurers. Those are one of the reasons that we picked up Bran a bit earlier, because they have this very strong battle cry, which gives you spells, which means you're not going to be running out of cards. So we like those quite a lot. We're going to be picking up Asher Drakes. It's a pretty heavy draw, turn 5, but it's still fine. They boost your other spells, so the Fireballs and the Frostbolts and the spells from Ethereal Conjure will get boosted by this, because of the spell damage. And just the 4/4 for 5, which draws you a card, is actually a fairly good card, so we're going to go with that. Except for that, I don't believe there's anything spectacular on 5. So we're going to move on to turn 6, where we're going to grab twice the Faceless Summoner, because those are really powerful. They've got a pretty strong battle cry with summon a 3-cost minion. 3-cost minions are usually worth it, summoning and then getting a 5/5/6. So I think that's just super strong. And in case you do have Brand Bronzebeard on the board, you're going to have massive value because you're getting 2 3-drops. So that's really good. Except for that, we might just be looking into Sylvanas Windrunner. Honestly, just because Sylvanas Windrunner is a very, very strong card. It's not because that it fits specifically well into the deck. Yeah, okay. Then turn 7. I'm quite fond of Flame Strike. I think we're gonna get just one of those because it helps us clear out the board if it gets too troublesome. I'm considering Antonidas, but we don't have that many spells, so I think we'll just not pick him up. Then I'm gonna pick up the Ragnaros because that's just a really, really strong minion, which is gonna kill the opponent's minions. And I don't think there's anything else here that we're really interested in. So now we're gonna have the last 4 cards be a bit flexible cards, so they can help us at different stages. I'm gonna pick up a Polymorph because that's gonna help us deal with those big Death Realm minions like Triumph Wandering. And looking at the curve, I think we can well afford a little bit more card draw in Arcane Intellect. And I think we can afford another Twilight Flamecaller for dealing with those aggro decks. And then looking at everything, we've got quite a few, not that many 2-drops, I mean. So we're just going to look at turn 2 once again. And just look if we can find something good. It doesn't really look that amazing to me, honestly. None of this actually does. But I feel like we might just pick up something. Like right now, we've got a very strong mana start, and we've got a fairly strong mid and late game here. So I believe we can pressure quite a lot, but we're not going to get totally rushed over by aggro decks because of the Twilight Flamecaller. So for turn 2, what would we need? We don't really need anything specific, I believe. But yeah. Right now, when you get a card like this and you're just really in doubt, what you can do is you can usually pick up a tech card, but there's none of those tech cards which I'm talking about on turn 2, so there's honestly nothing good. I think I'm just going to pick up a Flame Juggler and be kind of happy about it, because that's just a fairly solid 2-drop which does a little bit of damage. So like that. So there you go, there's the mid-range mage where you get this bit of late game pressure with all those cards, but you still have a lot of early game. Yeah, so that's fairly good. Then we're going to make another mage, and I could make a freeze mage, but well, most of you guys are not going to have cards for that because it requires quite a lot of cards and it's a quite hard deck to play. So instead, I'm going to show off a tempo mage, which is a aggressive version of mid-range mage. We don't need that. Yeah, so you're still going to go with mana rounds on turn 1, but there's still nothing that we really want except for that. So then we're going to go to turn 2. We definitely want the Sorcerer's Apprentices. They're fairly good. Again, we're kind of running into the problem about that there's honestly just nothing good except for those. So we're just going to go with that. On turn 3, we're going to be grabbing the Flame Wakers. This card is very important for Temple Mage. If you don't have this, you might just not even play it. It's still okay, but it's best if you have this, because it really allows you to clear a lot of things out of the board. You can get all these random damage. It's almost like adding 2 spell damage to everything, even spells that don't do damage. So, Flame Wakers are amazing. We're going to grab 2 Spell Slingers to get a bit more spells. And then we're just going to keep looking if we can find anything interesting here. It doesn't really look like that, so we're just going to keep going. Then on turn 4, we've got the Demented Frostcaller, and he is fun enough, but I would recommend most of you guys just picking up the Water Elemental instead, because he's kind of weird to play with, and he can be fun, but it's only if you really are wanting to mess around with stuff you're going to be picking him up, because Water Elemental is a more solid stat line and has a bit more of a, it's a stronger effect in case you don't have any spells that you want to use. So we're just going to keep looking through the cards, looking at if we want anything here, and it doesn't really look like it, so we're just going to keep moving. We're definitely going to go with double the Thorough Conjurer, because those are giving us spells, and we want that for fueling the Flame Waker and the Mana Realm. That's very important. Then we want Azure Drakes because that's spell damage. It makes our spells hit harder and we draw more cards. We like that. So that's much like the mid range where we're just having all those strong 5-drops. Except for that, there's nothing all that interesting here. Then on turn 6, we're considering the Faceless Summoners, but it's not really good. So we're just going to keep looking. And it doesn't really look like anything. Sylvanas could be considered here, but I think it might just be a bit too slow. Yeah, so it doesn't really look all that amazing to me. But I think I'll be picking up the Thaurissan though, because he enables the Flamemaker and the Sorcerer Apprentice to be a bit cheaper. That will make them easier to combo with the spells. Then I'm considering, also you guys should know, I'm going to be considering the Auctioneer, but I don't think it's good really, because Mage has a lot of expensive spells, and they don't really couple well with Auctioneer. So we're not going to be playing Auctioneer. Then on turn 7, we're definitely going to go with the Antonidas, and we're going to go with a single Pyroblast as well, actually, because that helps us finish out the game. Then, we don't really want any of this, they're all too slow, so we're not going to go with them. So now we've put in our, actually 16 minions that are forming the core of the deck, but we're going to have all the spells now. And those spells are going to be starting from the bottom here. With a Arcane Blast, that helps us deal with small stuff, and it gets a lot bigger with Azure Drake. Double Arcane Missiles, and we're going to pick up a yeah, we might pick up a Mirror Mage, depending on if we have space for it. We're going to pick up 2 Frostbolts because they're amazing. We're going to pick up double Arcane Intellect because that's very strong as well. And we're going to pick up double Fireball because that's very solid. And we're going to pick up double Cabalist Tomb. And we're going to pick up a single Polymorph. And we are going to potentially pick up something else, but I'll just see. Then we're going to pick up a Forgotten Torch to get a bit more damage going. So now, as you guys see, there's a lot of spells in this. And it might just be that you actually run out of minions and you just have only spells. But that's obviously not good because the minions are very synergistic with the spells, but it's still okay if it happens. So I'm just going to name it Tempo, and that's it. The idea about Tempo, you on turn 1 you play the Mana Realm, and your opponent might not have anything to play into that. Then you play the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and after that point, you just keep going with spells and Flamemakers and such, and you don't let your minions actually attack the enemy minions. They're going to go phase all the time, but your spells are supposed to clear the enemy minions constantly, so that this one and this one just stays on the board, and this one just grows, and this one just keeps the spells rolling cheaply. In case you do not manage this, you still have strong minions like Azure Drake and Water Elemental, well, for getting support pressure out there, and then your spell will accompany them, and you have the late game, so you can actually just use spells for clearing even without Mana Realm or Flamemaker out there, and you'll get back in the game later with Conjurer and Archmage and Antonidas, and you might just even finish the game with Pyroblast. That's mainly its use. It's not really going to be clearing anything. You've got Polymorph for that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching the Mage. If you like a lot of spells, you're definitely going with the Tempo. If you might not have that many cards yet, and you feel like you want a more stable and safe version, you might be going with this instead. There's a lot. This deck, I'm just going to toy around with it slightly so it gets a bit cheaper to build, because right now it's actually a quite expensive deck, and I don't think we want that. So we're going to pick out the legendaries, and that's a really good first step, because then the deck just got slightly more cheap, which is very nice. We're going to pick up a second Flame Juggler, and we're going to pick up something big. We just got to decide what it's supposed to be. So the idea about picking up something big is usually whatever legendary you have. So I would suggest Nefarian if you have that, Ysera if you have that, Ragnarok is probably the best one. You can pick up Malygos if you really want to, but it's not very good. But it's kind of whatever you have, you'll be picking up. So honestly, I have a lot of legendaries for Mage and such, so I can pick up all those legendaries. But for you other guys that might not have that, you can actually go with Yeah, well, I'm just thinking legendaries constantly right now, but that's kind of dumb. Yeah, you might have stuff like Scarlet Nightmare, which has a chance to just go crazy if it's left on the board, which is fairly good. But honestly, you're just going to be putting in whatever you have. If you really don't have any legendaries, you're completely new to the game, or just something, just put in a Stormwind Knight, and you're actually fine. Because this card is fairly solid, and it kind of just gets the job done. Because you might just have something on the board, like a Brand Bronzebeard or a Quintarn Mage, those will just grow, and it actually matters quite a lot. But yeah, that is pretty much it, I guess. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah. So go out there, have some fun with the Mage, and maybe try one of those decks. I hope I'll see you in